Maybe you are a proud owner of a guitar, but up until now, it's just been leaning up against the wall or maybe stuck in a closet somewhere. And maybe you get a little overwhelmed every time you pick up that guitar and think, how in the world am I ever going to learn to play? Today, I want to help you get started and teach you the very basics. And I promise if you'll follow along, I'm going to show you everything that you need to know in a language that you can understand. Now, this is a long video, but I broke it up into 7 sections and added chapters. So you can always go back and review the parts that you need to work on. So grab your guitar and let's get started. So number 1, let's talk about posture. I've got an acoustic guitar here, and so basically I've got it resting on my right leg there. There's different ways you could hold the guitar, like this. That's one way. But we're just going to talk about holding the guitar kind of like this right here. And if you'll notice, the guitar is kind of balanced for the most part, kind of in my lap or on my leg or whatever. What you don't want to do is be in a weird, uncomfortable position like laying like this right here, leaning back like this right here. This is no good right here. Slouching forward like this right here, over to the side. I mean, anything that just feels kind of like weird, it's maybe hard on your back, things of that nature. I mean, obviously I'm trying to keep my back straight, and I'm trying to just maintain a good balance and just comfort level, if you will. So your right hand or your right arm should be coming over the guitar kind of like this right here, to where this part of your arm and everything with your hand and wrist and all is just kind of free. I can kind of let my left hand go and I can just kind of be comfortable, with this movement right here, whether I'm just doing just wrist only or if I'm doing a little bit of my arm moving or whatever. So we're going to talk about holding the pick. And what I'm going to do is do an illustration for you. These days, like on social media and all that stuff, we've got the thumbs up, like, hey, that's cool, or yeah, no problem, or whatever. Well, back in the day, we used this right here for just okay. So, how you doing? Doing okay. Everything great? Yeah, everything's A-okay, no problem. So what I want you to do is I want you to think about this sign right here, or this position with your right hand, and notice what's going on with my thumb and my index finger right there. So I'm just going just like this right here. Hey, how's it going? A-okay, everything's cool. And then if I turn my hand like that, what I want to do is take and put that pick right there, slide it right in. And if you notice, the tip of the pick is lined up right with my index finger. So what's cool about that is I'm in position already here. I slide the pick in place. Now I don't want the pick to where I'm just barely holding it and there's this much pick, because there's no way that's going to work. It's just going to catch between the strings and it's just going to be awkward. So I want to have about this much of the pick to work with. And now all I do is just go back to my regular position. I'm all balanced and comfortable. Now the pick is actually lined up with the strings. And whenever I pick down, I'm picking down at a little bit of an angle. If you can see this right here, I'm picking down at a little bit of an angle. And I'm just picking down strokes now, but if I was to pick up strokes, I would come up just a little bit with that angle right there. So down looks like that, up looks like that. And so I'm just trying to make it really nice and comfortable. Trying to make everything just feel nice and comfortable, where I can just be real smooth with picking notes or strumming the guitar or whatever with my right hand. Now, if you notice with my left hand, we're going to talk about the left hand right now. And what I was doing just now is basically muting all the strings by not really pressing down on a string enough to get a note, but instead just barely putting my fingers over all 6 strings just to get kind of that muffled sound right there. Now this is a really good exercise for your right hand, because now you're not worried about trying to pick notes or whatever, pick chords or whatever. You're just basically just working your right hand. So you can work with picking. You know, you can do downstrokes, pick 1 string at a time. Like I'm gonna start with this top string right there. I'm just gonna pick just it. And if you notice, I'm just picking it. I'm not moving my whole arm to pick it. I'm not doing anything weird like this right here. I'm staying in position and just making it comfortable. And it's pretty much just kind of my thumb and my index finger kind of working together, but at the same time there's a little bit of a wrist movement there. So if you notice, there's just a little bit of a wrist movement. I'm picking 1 string at a time, picking the 4th string right there, 3rd string from the top. So that kind of works on the right hand, and again you can just play with just practicing, just kind of getting a really good feel to where things just feel smooth, whether you're picking a note or you're plucking all the strings, either way. Now the left hand, again, we talked about muting the strings, that's one thing, but we're going to do an illustration for the left hand. We're going to use this pen. So I want you to think of your left hand as a claw. So I don't know how you want to picture that, like an old, scary movie where the claw comes comes after everybody, or if you want to just, figure it any way you want to figure it. But basically, you're taking your hand, it's like clawing somebody's, back or whatever, and you're in a claw position. Now the pen is going to be kind of an illustration to where I don't want to touch this or grab this pen like this, because that's no good. I can't really play the guitar like that. I mean, I could, but it's kind of awkward. So what I want to do is lightly grab this pen by using this claw and then just clawing down on it. Now I've got the pen right there. I'm holding it lightly. I'm not holding it real stiff. So it's just a real simple position that my hand's in now. And so now what happens is, if I lay this pen down and I keep that same position, then all I've got to do is bring that hand position right there to the guitar, and now all of a sudden I'm right in perfect position. My thumb is behind the neck just a little bit, and the key to the fingers is they have to be bent. That's why the claw is necessary, because those fingers are bent. Otherwise, you try to play and your fingers are straight, and you're going to have a finger that's trying to play one note, but it's actually, getting in the way of another note at the same time. So I'm trying to play this note here, but that note right there, it's all muffled and it's not working for me. So if I have my finger bent, I can play that note, and then you'll hear that note, whatever that note is, when we start playing chords. So this holds true whether you're playing chords or you're playing notes on the guitar. And again, you can hold the thumb behind the neck to get a little bit more leverage if you need it. Your left hand, when you're first beginning to play guitar, your fingers are not going to be able to stretch and hit all those, frets real easily. It's going to take some time. But the key to the left hand is, again, get it in position to where the fingers are bent. The thumb is behind the neck a little bit. And the other thing about the left hand is you want to keep everything straight. What I want to do is I want to just keep my hand as straight as I can, try to keep in position. And if I'm playing notes, then if I want to switch strings, I didn't move my hand at all. Regardless of whether I'm holding the guitar like this or my thumb's behind the neck more, really doesn't matter. I'm not moving my hand no more than I have to. That's the key to it right there. So number one, let's talk about the open strings on the guitar. So we're in standard tuning. So in standard tuning, the top string here is going to be an E. The next string is going to be an A. Next string is a D. Next string is a G. Next string is a B. And the bottom string, the skinniest string, is going to be an E. So this is an E, and then this is just an E in a higher octave. Okay, so how do we memorize these open strings? It's very important to memorize the strings. Well, there's a couple different ways. First of all, there is a saying. It's kind of silly, but it goes like this. Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. So it's just simply starting with your top string. E for Eddie. A for ate. D for dynamite. G for good. B for bye, and E for Eddie. So Eddie ate dynamite. Goodbye, Eddie. So the next way I want to talk about memorizing the strings, we're going to use one of these clip-on tuners. And so this is a Snark tuner. I bought it at Sweetwater. You can buy them at Amazon, I'm sure, and there's all kinds of different clip-on tuners like this. So this acoustic doesn't have a tuner built into it. A lot of acoustic guitars have a tuner built in. This one here doesn't. So all I have to do is click on this tuner right here. And then whenever I hit the button and turn it on, now all of a sudden whenever I play a note, it's going to tell you exactly what that note is. Now I've got this tuner set to chromatic mode. And what that means is no matter what note I hit, it's going to tell you exactly what that note is. So this is an E note, but if I wasn't in tune, then I could bring the tuning down. Now all of a sudden it's showing me this top string is a D note. And so if I see a note that has a sharp sign or a number sign or hashtag, whatever you want to call it, after it, then that means it's sharp. So sharp means higher than the note, and then flat would mean lower than the note. So let's say I'm at D right there. You can see I'm in a D. And now I'm going to come up with this tuner right here. I'm coming up. And now you see it's a D sharp. Okay, now I'm tuning. I want to tune to standard tuning, so I want this to be an E. So after D sharp is going to be the E note. And I'm going to tune right up to that E note, just like that. Now, a big tip for tuning is you always want to tune up to the note. So here's your tuner right here. You turn it this way, it goes down. In other words, the note gets lower. Turn it back this way, and now the note gets higher or it goes up. Okay? Well, we always want to come up to the note. We don't want to come above the note and then come back down to it. The reason we want to do that is because it gives more tension to the string and helps the note stay in tune better. So once again, we're going to come down below that E note just a little bit, and then we're going to come up to it. Then whenever I see that blue line right there above that E, now I'm in tune. We're going to do the same thing with the A note. Come down a little bit, and then we're going to come back up to it. And there we go. D note the same way, it's already in tune, but I'm going to bring it out. And I'm going to bring it right back up to where it's in tune. And that looks good. So the G note looks like it's already in tune. The B note looks like it's off just a little bit. It needs to come up just a little bit. And the bottom E note looks like it's in tune. So once I have them all tuned the first time, I want to go back through them one more time and just double check. So E, A, D, G, B, E. Once again, Eddie, ate, dynamite, goodbye, Eddie. Okay, here's the next way to tune a guitar. Let's say you don't have a clip-on tuner and you're in a room with a computer, or maybe you've just got your iPad or your iPhone. Okay, so you go to a website, and now what you're going to do is you're going to tune by ear. Now you could also tune by ear. Say you were jamming with a piano player, or say you was jamming with another guitar player that he was in tune or she was in tune. If you had your guitar out right now and wanted to tune to me, then you could just tune to this E note right here, tune to this A note right there, tune your guitar to that D note right there, tune that string to the G note, there's your B, and there's your E. So you could have used me as a reference to tune your guitar to mine, and that way you know we're both in tune together. Okay, but what I'm going to show you is a website that you can go to, and what you want to do is just go to Google. You want to do a search for online tuner, and what I'm going to do is go to this Fender.com online guitar tuner. Okay, now I'm going to scroll down, and as you can see, there's different types of guitars. I'm just going to pick the acoustic guitar, and now it shows me a picture right here. I'm looking at same thing. I'm looking at E, A, D, G, B, and E. So on the tuner, I'm going to go ahead and hit the E note right there, and it's going to give me that note. And I can literally tune right to it. And notice it sustains the note, so it's going to hold it out. It doesn't just hit one time and stop. So that's pretty close. Now we're going to go to the A. Sounds pretty good. Let's go to the D. We'll bring it out a little bit and then bring it back up to pitch. That's pretty good. Let's hit the G. This is a great exercise, helps you with ear training as well, because you want to be able to hear these notes and know how to match them. There's your B. I'm going to bring mine down a little bit and then bring it back up. Almost. Remember, I'm tuning up to the pitch. One more time. And that sounds pretty good. And once you have your guitar good and tuned, you just want to play a few chords just to make sure your chords sound good. You can always tell by playing a few chords. So number one, let's talk about some basics of the guitar. In the last lesson, we talked about memorizing the open strings. E, A, D, G, B, and E. We want to figure the numbers that are associated with each one. So on the guitar, consider the bottom string, the skinniest string, as your first string. And then go up. The B is your second string, G is your third, D is your fourth, A is your fifth. The top thickest string is your sixth string. So from top to bottom, it would be 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. My index finger is my first finger. Next finger is my second finger. My ring finger is my third finger. And of course my pinky is the fourth. So 1, 2, 3, 4. The next thing we want to talk about is the guitar neck. We've already talked about the tuners and how to tune the guitar in the last lesson. So let's talk about the fretboard and the guitar neck. So when we look at the guitar neck, we're looking at these bars right here, and these are frets. And so the space in between each one of these bars represents a number. So if I put my finger anywhere here on any one of these strings, then I'm playing the first fret. If I put my finger anywhere here, I'm playing the second fret. Anywhere here, I'm playing the third fret, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, and so forth, so on. So basically, if I wanted to say I want to play the sixth string with my second finger on the second fret, it would look like that right there. If I wanted to play the third finger on the sixth string, third fret, it's going to look like that right there. So this is real important when you're thinking about keeping your hands in position. So basically you've got your numbers to your frets, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, so forth, so on. Well, the guitar also has like dots in the very top right here of the neck. And that's just an easy way to reference where you're at on the guitar. An example of that, the first dot right here is going to be on the third fret, which on this sixth string, top string, third fret, that's going to be a G note. Okay, the next dot is going to be on the fifth fret. Then there's a dot on the seventh fret, the ninth fret, and then it goes up to 2 dots on the 12th fret. And it's really easy to kind of figure out where you're at quickly by using the dots on the guitar. So next, what we want to do is look at the way you fret a note. So whenever I place my finger behind one of these bars, I'm actually hitting another note. So this is my open note right there on the first string. Well, if I play first fret, first finger, first string, then that right there would be an F note. But if you can tell, I'm actually bending my finger, got my thumb behind the neck just a little bit, and I'm hitting that note. Now, one key to fretting a note or playing a note on the guitar is you want to have your finger right behind this bar. So I don't want to have my finger right there. I don't want to have it really right dead in the middle. I want to have it just behind that bar. So if I play this note here, I'm right behind the bar of that fret. Same here, same there, same there. This gets real important as you go along because it's a little bit hard in the beginning to make that stretch with your fingers. So another thing that's very important, and we talked about this in the first video, is keeping your fingers bent. So it's kind of like a claw. So basically, I'm making sure that my fingers are bent, because if I'm playing a chord, then I don't want to touch any other strings. I want to be able to play this chord and you hear every note, or this chord, which we'll get into more chords later on in other videos. So it's very important that you hear each note, and if you don't, then there's some kind of problem. Either your fingers are not bent properly or you're not putting enough pressure down on the note. So if I play like that right there where you can't really hear the note, it's simply because I don't have enough pressure down on the string. Now I got just enough pressure. Now I don't want to put too much pressure on it because then it could bring it out of tune and the note wouldn't sound good. I want to have just enough pressure with my finger on that fret to where I can hear that note, and that note sounds good, sounds true. And it doesn't matter whether I'm playing just notes like this or if I'm playing a chord. So once again, I can't stress this enough how important it is, especially as a beginner, to make sure that you can hear every note. So once you start to learn chords, you want to be able to hear every note every time. You don't want to hear this. That's no good. And the reason why that's happening is because this top finger is actually playing that note, but it's also getting in the way of this note, which should be that note. So it's real important that you learn these techniques to keep your left hand in a position to where you can hear every note. The key to it is just to pay attention and listen with your ear. And if you hear something wrong, then stop and fix your mistake. So instead of just strumming this chord and just letting it sound like whatever, I want to make sure I can play each note first. Now I can strum, and I know everything's going to sound good. Way to go, you made it through the first 3 sections. Keep up the good work, and if you have any questions, leave them in the comments. So guitar is just like everything else. When you watch somebody that's been playing for a while, don't they make it look so easy? Of course, if you are a beginner, then you know it's not that easy, and it does take a little bit of time to get your fingers to cooperate and do the things you need them to do, like play the notes correctly to where you can hear everything and things of that nature. In this video, I'm going to show you a simple finger exercise that you can start out slow, then build yourself up to a point to where your fingers are in shape, and playing chords and notes on the guitar is a lot easier. Coming up. So with this finger exercise, we're going to start on the first string. The last video, we talked about the numbers of the strings. So this is string 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And we know the notes on the guitar: E, A, D, G, B, E. So we're going to start on the bottom E string, first string, and we're going to play our 5th fret. So we talked about there's frets on the guitar. We're going to count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're going to use our index finger, which is our first finger. And just as a review, we always want to play the note right behind the bar. So we don't want to play it here. Don't want to play it right in the middle. We want to play it right behind the bar. So this is where this finger exercise is going to start. So we're going to play this note right here. And on the right hand, all we're going to do is play downstrokes. So just a simple downstroke with your pick. So we're going to start with this note right here. And now we're going to play the second finger on the 6th fret, still on the first string. And then the third finger, 7th fret. 4th finger, pinky, is going to be a little bit of a stretch for you, but that'll be on the 8th fret. So the exercise is simply downstrokes. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now in the beginning, you just want to start out just playing these notes just like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Or you could play each note 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Key to it is make sure your fingers stay in the right position and play the notes correctly, like we've talked about. It looks pretty easy, me doing it right here, but it's a little bit of a stretch if you're just a beginner guitar player and you haven't done all this. It's going to take some time to get this stretch down. But you want to put your thumb behind the neck a little bit so you've got some leverage, and just keep on practicing. You could be watching TV on the couch, and while you're watching TV, just be doing this right here. Simply watching a movie or just whatever. And I promise you this will help you tremendously if you'll get in the routine of doing it. Now, you can take it a step further. What you want to do is be able to play like this and then come back down. And another key to it is, if you notice, my fingers are staying in position. This first finger is married to that 5th fret. Second finger, 6th fret. Third finger, 7th fret. 4th finger, 8th fret. My hand never really moves. I'm not playing this note and then moving my hand around and then playing that note and then trying to figure out how to get to that note. Instead, I'm staying in position the whole time, just like this right here. So now you can go 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. You get comfortable with that, and you can do all kinds of cool stuff with this exercise, because now you can go to the next string. You can go to the 2nd string, the B string. Same thing. You can go to the G string, same thing. then you can keep on going through all the strings the same way. So ultimately what you want to be able to do is just be smooth and stay in time. You don't want to play like this and be like all jumpy or whatever. You want to stay in time, keep it smooth, and it needs to sound real nice and pretty. And once you get this down, now all of a sudden you just jump strings as you go along. So start here. I can promise you playing these first few strings on the top is going to be a whole lot more difficult in the beginning, but just pace yourself, give yourself time, and just take your time and just get to a point where you're just feeling more comfortable with this exercise. And of course you can just add more to it as you go. Again, the most important thing here is to be able to hear every note. If I'm playing like this right here and all of a sudden I'm missing a note, then that's not going to do me any good at all to keep going. I need to stop and say, okay, well, what I need to do to be able to hit that note and make it sound good. Maybe I'm not pressing down on the string enough. Maybe I'm pressing down too hard. Maybe I'm not stretching far enough and I'm playing this note here, this note there, that note there, but the pinky, it's just not making it. It's right here to where it hadn't made it to the note properly. Whatever it is, take your time, don't get in no hurry. Enjoy the process and just keep on doing this until it gets comfortable. And the goal ultimately for this exercise, of course, you can go all over the guitar neck with it. You can start here and end up here. What I believe is the best thing is to be able to do this right here. Start on the top string, which is a 6th string, 5th fret. Go all the way up through all the strings, get to here, and then go all the way back down. Start here. And you don't have to do it very fast. You can just do it as slow as you need to, but keep it on time. My tempo's not perfect there, but once again, sitting on the couch, watching a movie, just kicking back, just hanging out. I promise you, if you'll stay with this exercise and keep working at it, it will help you tremendously. We've been talking about some guitar basics like hand positions, open strings, tuning, and finger exercises. Now we want to start learning to play chords. In this video, I'm going to show you how to read a chord diagram and show you a great website to use for learning your chords. Coming up. So the first thing we want to do is go to a website. It's called all-guitar-chords.com. And it shows you a picture of the guitar neck, shows you the open strings and all of the frets on the guitar. If you were to hold your guitar out in front of you just like this right here, that would be a good picture of what the chord diagram looks like. So looking at this diagram, it shows all the open strings. So you've got, starting from the bottom, which would be your thickest string, your 6th string, E, A, D, G, B, E. That's all your open strings. Then on the top, you've got 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, so forth, so on. Those are your frets. And what we want to do is go ahead and start looking at some chords. So as you can see at the very bottom, you can click on the letter of the chord you want, and then whether it's major, minor, or whatever type of chord it is. In this diagram, we're just going to go with the E major chord. So let's break down this diagram. What we're looking at here, again, is the E major chord. Sounds like that, and it looks like this right here. That's what we're looking at on this chord diagram. Now the top string is your lower E string, and that's actually on the bottom of the chord diagram So once again, you just kind of got to look at it like that. The bottom two strings here are open, and as you can see, they're the top two strings on the chord diagram. So all of the round circles are notes in the E major chord. So you're going to play all the strings, and you're going to play the top string open and the bottom two strings open. And then as you can see, the first fret has got your first finger. That's what that 1 in the circle is for. And then your third finger is on the second fret on the D string. Then your second finger is on the second fret on the A string. So once again, you got your frets and you got your open strings. The only other thing we want to look at here is the color of the dots. And the orange dots represent the root notes. So we're in the key of E major, so E is your root note, and that orange dot, each time you see that, is showing you where the E notes are. All right, so next we're going to look at an A major chord, and there's the diagram for it. The bottom string right there is going to be open. You've got your A note. You can see the orange right there for an open A note. And then you've got your first finger, second finger, and third finger on the D, G, and the B strings on the second fret there. And this is what that looks like. You can see the X that's on the E, and so that means we do not play that string. So we're just playing the 5 strings. So from the A on down. Now we're going to look at one more chord. We're going to look at the D major chord. So we start with an open D note, and then on the G string we've got our first finger, second fret, B string, third finger, third fret, and on the E string we've got our second finger, second fret. So looks like that right there. And as you can see, the top 2 strings have X's on them. So we're not going to play the top 2 strings. Once again, I highly recommend this website. It's again all-guitar-chords.com. In this video, we're going to talk about 3 chords that as a beginner, I recommend you learn first. And we're going to talk about 3 strum patterns that are very important to learn as well coming up. So our first chord we want to talk about is the E major chord. Looks and sounds like that right there. So you've got your top string, your open E string, and then you've got your bottom 2 strings are open. You got your first finger on the 3rd string, 1st fret. You've got your 3rd finger on the 4th string, 2nd fret. You've got your 2nd finger on the 5th string, 2nd fret. So once again, looks like that right there. And what you want to do is make sure that you can hear every note. That's very important because you don't want to be hearing any of this right here where you're missing like a note or hitting the wrong, string or something of that nature. So once you can hear every note and everything sounds pretty good right there, let's go ahead and talk about our strum patterns. Strum pattern number 1 is simply going to be 4 downstrokes. So it's just 1, 2, 3, 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like this right here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Now our second strum pattern is going to have 1 upstroke on the 3 and. So whenever we say and, that's going to be an upstroke. So it kind of looks like this. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sometimes it kind of helps you to tap your foot if you want to try that to understand the downbeats and the upbeats. Here is that strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1. So the third strum pattern is going to be another and or another upstroke on the 4 and. So it looks like 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and. So check it out. 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1, 2, 3 and 4 and 1. All right, so the next chord we're going to learn is going to be the A major chord. And it looks like this right here. Sounds like this. So we start with the 5th string, the open A note. And then the bottom string is going to be open. And so the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th strings, we're going to play the 2nd fret. So you can do this a few different ways with your finger positions. You can play with your first 3 fingers like this. Or you can play like this. Or you could use your 2nd, 3rd, and 4th fingers and leave the index finger out of it and play it like that. Whatever feels comfortable to you. And remember, once again, you want to play every note. Make sure you're not hearing none of this right here. So here we go. First strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Second strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1. And our third strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Now, if you notice my thumb, it's behind the neck for the most part. But on this particular chord, I can go ahead and bring my thumb up just enough to where I can kind of barely touch that top string. That way, if I do play the top string, it's not going to matter because it's muted. So just a little bonus tip there. All right, so let's go with our third chord. That's going to be our D major. Looks like that right there. And on this chord here, we're not playing the top 2 strings. So we're starting with the 4th string, the open D. And now our index finger, 1, is going to be on the 2nd fret on the 3rd string. Our 2nd finger is going to be on the 1st string, 2nd fret. 3rd finger is going to be on the 2nd string, 3rd fret. So once again, play all your notes. Make sure you're not hearing any of that. And away we go. First strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. Second strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1. And our third strum pattern. 1, 2, 3, and 4. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and 1. Now on this chord here, we're not playing the top 2 strings, but if we do hit the 5th string, that A note right there, it's not going to hurt anything at all because that A note is part of the D major chord. So it's not a big deal. Awesome job. You're almost there. Just one more section to go, so keep it rolling. If you were to play any note anywhere on the guitar fretboard, would you know what that note is right off the top of your head? In this video, I'm going to show you a simple way to learn all the notes on the fretboard in 3 steps. Coming up. Step number 1, let's learn some very basic music theory. We're going to start out with the music alphabet, and it just simply consists of A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. 7 notes, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then it keeps on going. A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, so forth, so on. The next thing we want to learn is the concept of the half steps and whole steps on the guitar or in music in general. So a half step would be one note. So if I play that note right there, a half step up would be this note here. A half step down would be that note there. So it's 1 fret. So a half step equals 1 fret, either up or down. A whole step would be 2 frets. So if I play this same note and I go up a whole step, I'm going up 2 frets. So here to here. If I want to go down, I'm going a whole step down, which is 2 frets. So here, whole step down, here, whole step up. Now let's talk about the rule of the B and C notes and the E and F notes. And the rule is simple. There's only a half a step from an E to an F or a B to a C. So this is my open string E. A half step up would be F. So there are no notes in between E and F. Same thing goes with B and C. Here's my B note right here, and here's my C note. So from B to C is only a half step or 1 fret. Now let's put it all together and talk about the sharp notes and the flat notes. So you've got A to B is a whole step, which means 2 frets. So this is A and this is B. So the question is, what is this note right here? So here's A and we're going up to B. Well, let's go down to this note. And this is going to be either a B flat note or an A sharp note. So this could be called either one. B flat, because it goes down half a step from B, or an A sharp, because it goes up half a step from A. So A sharp, or B flat to B. Let's do this one more time. Let's play this note right here. Now that right there is a G note. So I'm going to say up half a step is going to be a G sharp. And of course there's my A. So down from A half a step is an A flat. So there's G. This note here is either a G sharp or you can call it an A flat. So step number 2, let's talk about how we're going to memorize some of these notes. First of all, we're going to memorize the notes that are open. So open notes would be E, A, D, G, B, and E. And you should know that simply by just tuning your guitar, because when you tune your guitar, you're tuning that note to an E, that note to an A, D, G, B, and E. Okay? So we know our open notes, we've got them memorized, okay? Now let's talk about the top string, which is an E, and the bottom string, which is also an E. We can memorize the notes on the top string, and of course that holds true with the bottom string as well, by simply walking through the music alphabet like we talked about. So start with this E, and then half a step up is F, whole step to G, whole step to A, whole step to B, half a step to C, whole step to D, and a whole step to E. Now if you notice, we know what this note here is, and we also know what that note is on the 12th fret because it's the same note, just an octave higher. That's an E, that's an E, that's an A, that's an A, so forth, so on. So now let's memorize the notes on the A string. So we know we start with an open A string, we go up a whole step to a B, we go up a half a step to a C, we go up another whole step to a D, whole step to an E, half a step to an F, whole step to a G, and now we're back at A again. So we started with A, we ended with A. Now all we have to do is talk about the other strings on the guitar and how to find those notes. Well, here's the way to do that. First of all, you can start with your open string, or you could start with your 12th fret, and you could go either up or down or whatever makes more sense to you. So let's just say you want to figure out what this note right here is. Okay? So in this note right here, I can either start with the open note, which is G, and I can go up A, B, C, D, and there's the note we were looking at. Well, that's a D sharp or an E flat. Okay? So the other thing I can do is I could start with the 12th fret and go down. So this is G, this is F, this is E, and then once again there's our note, it's E flat. Okay, let's try another note. Let's try this note right here. Okay, so we're on the G string, so we could walk up G, A, B, C, D, E. So it's an E note right there. Or we could walk down from the 12th fret. G, F, E. Simple as that. So the last thing we want to talk about here is your octave patterns. We've already talked about E, and then 12th fret, that's an E. G note, 12th fret, you got a G note. So let's talk about how to find our octaves within the guitar fretboard. So first of all, let's choose the note that we already played, this note right here. Now we know that's an E note. So how do we find the octave lower on that same E note? It's right there. So there's your pattern. It's right here on this note, and we skip a string, and then we go to this note right here. So that holds true no matter where you're at on the guitar. So if you're trying to figure out this note, there's your octave. This note, there's your octave. This note, there's your octave. So we may not know what this note here is right off the top of our head, but we know what this note is because we memorized this string. So that's just another way of figuring out the notes really quickly. So this is your E, this is your E, that's your E. This is your A, this is your A, this is your A. So this is your E, once again, this is your E, this is your E. So you can use your octaves to find notes really quickly as well. Let's try one more note. Let's try this note right here. So how do we figure out what note that is? Okay, well, we start with the 12th fret. We know that's a B. We know that's a C. That's a D. And there's our note right there. So it's going to be either a D sharp or an E flat. So let's go back to the note we just learned earlier, which is going to be our D sharp or E flat way up here. And let's look at the octaves. Here's our octave right there for that note. And then of course here's our octave here for that note. So the octave patterns are the same, starting with your top E string or your bottom E string, and then your notes in between. So there's your G, there's your G, there's your G. Here's your C, there's your C, there's your C. Once again, we want to find notes really quickly. So this note here, there's our octave below, and there's our octave below that, which tells us it's an A sharp or a B flat. Hey, I am so excited that you made it this far, and I know you're going to be playing songs in no time. Click the video playlist on your screen or the one I'll link below. Let's continue this journey together, and I'll see you in the next one.